Susan, my understanding is that you've wanted to invest in real estate for the last 40 years, but the biggest reason why you haven't is because you feel that real estate might actually be unethical. Is that right?
Yes, that has come to me. In the past, I did try several years ago to do some real estate, went to the seminars, bought the books, but I stopped. I felt like there was something wrong, that it was unethical to make profit like that. I understand housing's a commodity, right? But since it's a basic need, should we really be using it as an investment? I haven't taken that next step because this keeps bothering me.
Well, guess what? Today we get to explore whether real estate is ethical or unethical. You decide.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Is investing in real estate ethical? Is it unethical? Susan here is a member of one of my masterminds, and she has been stopped in the game of investing for years. Self-admittedly, tried to get in the game once, and at the end of the day just thought, am I part of the problem? Am I part of hiking up the prices? Am I making real estate unaffordable? This is a commodity. This is hurting people. This is unethical. Is that true? Have you heard of ambulance chasing before? Right? Like those lawyers that are looking for accidents and claims and problems. And it almost feels like they're trying to feed off of divorce and people's woes and bankruptcies. And I think that's the question, right? Like, are these bad people trying to get paid off of people's really bad experiences? Real estate has something similar. Take a look at some of the grievances that people have in the game of real estate. Slumlords grow rich at the expense of their tenants. Private equity firms like BlackRock buy entire neighborhoods at a time, killing the American dream because they're controlling the market. Wholesalers and quick flippers profit from shady deals and taking advantage of people and then selling it way higher. And investors with multiple homes raise prices from everybody else, basically blockading the market and hurting people left and right. There's a very powerful energy in the world where there's a group of people, this is their number one concern. And I have to tell you that it's not fully unwarranted. There's a dark side to everything. There's a dark side to all different games. And the question is it all bad or are parts of it bad? Let's go a little deeper on it, shall we?
Okay.
All right. So here's my claim. Investing is not evil, but that doesn't mean that people can't be evil while investing. You see, like all things, it's not what you do, but it's how you do it that really makes a difference. Insider trading, 100% unethical, but that doesn't mean that the entire stock market is unjust. Some corporations take advantage of their workers, but not all business owners are greedy tyrants. And so I think that it's important for all of us to recognize that there's probably altruism in many games. There's a dark side, there's middle ground. And really today, we're putting real estate on trial. And here's the question. Is it all bad? And if you participate investing in any way, shape, or form, are you contributing to big problems that are out there? Or is it possible that there are investors out there that might be actually supplying the solutions to things like affordable housing? You know, Susan's big concern has to do with affordability, so let's actually address rising home prices. In 2022, 24% of single-family homes were purchased by investors. That is a huge number. That's basically a quarter. 1 in every 4 homes was purchased by an investor. While some people look at those statistics as the reason that home prices are becoming increasingly unaffordable, there are many more significant factors for those recent increases, including low interest rates. Before the Fed started increasing them, we had a decade of very low interest rates because the government was saying, we got to stimulate the economy. We actually have a housing crisis. We're missing millions of homes. We need to motivate investors to want to build them for other Americans. Because guess what? We don't really have government housing. The government doesn't own all the real estate in this free country, in America. They let the people decide, and that's why we have something called investors. So interest rates played a factor. Increase in local zoning regulations definitely had an impact on that. Number 3, do you remember when we had higher construction costs literally going through the roof? Like the cost of lumber went up 3, 4, 5x. All the commodities, well, we have even still today major problems with supply chain all around the world. It's one of the biggest crises that new companies emerging are trying to solve. And also some of them are trying to profit from finding those solutions. And the question is, does that make them bad? Because we have a problem and people aren't solving it. Are we okay if people do get paid to solve is one of the valid questions for today. Number 4, lower building confidence. We have right now, since the Great Recession of 2008, a problem in the whole building arena because we're so backlogged. You also have increase in land prices and also government subsidies. All of these things have contributed to the fact that prices are going up, as well as the government printing trillions of dollars, creating inflation, driving prices up on the consumer price index of everything as well. So Susan, as you take a look at that, there's a lot of things that are contributing to the fact that home prices have gone up. And part of it is there's this marketplace that is hungry for the millions of homes that are missing. And the question is, are investors really increasing the price, or is it the market? Because someone can list a home for whatever price they want, but the reality is a home is only worth what someone's willing to pay. Is it because of what it's listed for, or is it because someone's willing to buy it at that price that ultimately determines what the price of something is? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, you're right. You can post your house for as much money as you like, but you're going to have to wait it out if it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Well, and the question is, how much control do the investors really have on, maybe what you might have been referring to earlier as price gouging, or, man, are they really capable of driving up the price?
I don't know. There's a couple of situations that I think about.
Okay. Tell me about them.
Middlemen transactions. For example, wholesaling, where you're pivoting right from the buyer right from the seller straight to the buyer, you're making a nice little profit there. Also, new construction, that really bothers me. Even before the building is done and consumers even know they can put a bid in or make an offer. Real estate investors have swooped in and bought several units, and they're going to sell them at a higher price. So those two things bother me.
But you know what? What you're saying really isn't unfair, because there's validity to everything that you're sharing right now. And it's interesting because there are definitely games that are out there where people are intentionally trying to win through profiteering. There are other games, however, that are being played where people are looking for a true win. And I call it a triple win. It's where the person buying the home wins, the investor that put their neck on the line gets to win, and then also hopefully the community wins by putting the right kind of family in that neighborhood that can be good for that community. And what I'd like to do right now is explore one of those techniques. It's actually how I built all of my original wealth. It comes from a book that I wrote, The Strait Path to Real Estate Wealth. And it's based on a strategy called compassionate financing, which is, how do I make money in the game of real estate while tremendously helping people? Can we explore that?
Yeah, because I know there's money there to be made, help me out in my retirement, but I want to feel right about it.
100%.
Yeah, thank you.
So for Susan and for you watching, I wrote this book years ago called The Strait Path to Real Estate Wealth. This is what created all of my financial freedom by the age of 26. Basically, the year I graduated college, I quit my job. I no longer had any courses to take, but I was financially free. And it was following Dale Carnegie's philosophy that says, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll also in turn get what you want. And so I devised something called compassionate financing. And it's a good version of a landlord. You see, there's something out there called rent to own, and I leveled it up. And it's a system where I would buy a house, and then under this program called compassionate financing, I'd put a family in that house. And when the landlord understands the value they offer, they can arrange a win-win situation for the investor and the renter. And I did this by telling families, hey, come and live in this house for 2 or 3 years. Let's work on rebuilding credit if you need to, or getting some credit history if that's what the bank wants. And then when you go to buy this house, you can have lived in it like it was yours in the meantime. And what I'm gonna do is, just like I get benefits as an owner of a property, I'm gonna advance those benefits to you, which means When you pay rent every month, I'm gonna credit some of that to lowering your purchase price, just like building equity from not throwing rent money away. To move into this house, you need to make a down payment, but I'm gonna put that towards the purchase price when you go to buy it. And by the way, if you wanna make improvements along the way, this house is yours. Please treat it like it's yours. And let me advance that to you early until you're actually able to fulfill on the contract and actually buy the home. What this does in the community is, number two, it provides a pathway to home ownership when other people are like, well, I guess I just can't get into a house, because at the point of retirement, guess where you will have made more money in life? What you socked away for retirement in a 401k or an IRA, or will it be the equity in your home? To this day, the equity in your home is greater and outpaces all the money you set aside over 40 years for retirement. So this program is really about putting people into a home so that they can actually start building something of worth for their family. Number three, it definitely generates more profits for investors, because think about it from my perspectives. Investors make money from a deposit and a higher monthly payment while it's built into a client that's waiting to buy the home. And at the exact same time, I'm gonna share back equity on their payments back to them. So guess what? I'm not a hands-on landlord. This is now their house, which means it's a lot less time for me. It's a lot less effort for me. Also, if a light bulb needs to be replaced or a toilet needs fixed, it's their home. They're now doing those things. So on the one hand, I don't have to pay out an expensive 10% property management fee, because the family is now managing the home themselves. And that's part of what creates this win-win. And finally, number four, this helps build communities with owner-occupied neighborhoods. When there are more owners in a neighborhood, people take responsibility to maintain their properties. This raises home values and it decreases crime levels. So they actually get rewarded for having a neighborhood that's made up more of owners than investors. Now that is a whole lot of benefit to the renter, the family that gets to come into the home and treat it like their own, but there are also some other significant benefits to the investor, as this book outlines, that allows this to also be twice as profitable for them as just doing a straight rental on the property. Good service creates great returns. Investors and landlords provide many needed services to the economy, and in return, the ROI for real estate is uniquely high. For example, there's some great tax benefits. Technically, I own the property, I get to depreciate the property, and so that's gonna help lower my tax burden. Number two, I have consistent cash flow. I have a better cash flow because I have a family instead of just a renter. Renters can be transient, they can come in, they can go out, sometimes they only stay for a year, but the family is saying, we're establishing roots here, and this is where we're going to stay. And finally, mitigated risk. Unlike stocks, real assets like property can never disappear if a company goes out of business. Real estate is also both an improvable asset and a hedge against inflation. So there's a lot of great reasons why someone decides to get in the game of real estate. And the question is this: if I'm going to make profits, how much of that is for me for taking on the risk? But in a program like this, I can push some of those benefits onto them, and that means that they're building equity, they're not throwing rent money away, and then finally they have a path early to home ownership when normally a bank would not give them a fighting chance. So Susan, that's just one example of a strategy that has been very well thought out to benefit the person trying to get in a home. I'm so grateful for that, because I'll never forget what it was like having some of those tenants actually be able to buy the home, and their testimony was so precious, because they would say, Kris, we would have never gotten into a program if there hadn't been a program like this. And programs like what I do, they're rare. They're not really out there. And I do think it's an example of the kind of real estate that can be done in a way that creates beautiful mutual benefit. What do you think about what you just saw?
Well, just going back over that lease option program you were saying, I remember now when I was younger, my mom was looking for a lease option house. It was rare, like you said, it was very rare. And that was the only way she was going to get a house for all her children. It didn't happen for her, but I can see, I guess I'm it could have been a good recipient of something like that. I just forgot about that.
Yeah, but I also think it's fair to note that I see also people leveraging the lease option game intending to hurt people. I literally know those that say, well, I want an unreasonable down payment, $10,000, $50,000, and you only have 12 months to buy the home, or else your entire down payment is non-refundable. And I think it's the bigger point today, is that I think you can find something unethical in everything. And the question is, what's on your heart? And my experience in life is that if you want a great reputation, you have to create something sustainable, something that will deliver not just good over months, but decades. And so real estate, I think there's a way to do it that it can be hugely beneficial to people. Like the government has opportunity zones, places where investors can come in and improve the slummier neighborhoods so that values can increase and families can find greater stability and have access to maybe better school systems. And I think there's always going to be a good side, just like there's always a bad side. And I think the big question is, do you believe that?
Yeah, well, just talking to you brings up things I didn't think about before. I mean, I live in an older part of town and the homes are 100 years old, and someone will come and fix one up and put it up for a lot of money, and I know that's helping my house to increase in value too. I guess I really didn't put these things together. I was just thinking, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this.
Well, Susan, it is never too late to get in the game. And my invitation is that the game of real estate can be done in a way where you can create a win in your neighborhood, in your community, for people, for families, and we can help them, because if a real estate deal, their own home is going to be the most important asset for their financial future, then for me, my goal is to get as many people inspired to get in homes as possible, and also to be an investor that can make more of that possible, because we have a huge crunch right now. We're missing over 4 million homes, and the government won't build them. And there's risk in getting in that game. And I'm trying to inspire people to take on that risk. And there has to be money to make that worthwhile enough to finally give families an opportunity at ownership.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, weighing your risks. No, definitely didn't.
So do you want to do some real estate together?
Yes, I want to make some money in real estate, that's for sure.
Well, let's shake on it through the TV, shall we?
We'll shake on that.
All right. Well, Susan,
All right.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I'm really glad that you brought up this important question. I think anyone watching today's video will hopefully find a little bit more peace, or at least find out where more their true north is on the matter.
Okay. Thank you, Kris. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sister. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much, Susan.
Okay. All right.
Wow, Susan changed her mind after 40 years. And I'm kind of curious what you're thinking right now, because I've got a couple of things for you to look at. The first one is I got a gift for you. This book that will show you how to do real estate in your backyard to help families is available to you for free. You can click the link below, cover the shipping on it. My team will send this to you, and you can download the entire system on how to build wealth to get you where you need to go. But if you're looking for more of a hands-off approach, as many people are, you could partner with me and I'll take you into the market and I'll do all of the work, all the heavy lifting, and we'll help solve this crunch on real estate that exists in the economy. There's definitely a lot of great money to make, but it's about getting the homes to the people as well. The government needs this, the economy needs this, and it's a way to actually secure your own financial future. So if you're interested either in the book as a gift for the do-it-yourself, or if you want to click the other link on partnering with me, I'll show you how we can go into the marketplace and win together. Real estate is not just ethical, it's American. And beyond that, if you're interested in whether or not now is the right time to be in the game of real estate, because people are so worried about the crash. Literally, I've got a guest coming in studio that's like, it's over, this is not the time, we shouldn't do this. And I have very specific words on this. And if you know what I think about the crash, click right here, let me show you.